Last year, we published this video about how the Chinese e-commerce platform Temu took the US by storm by offering prices that seemed almost too good to be true. Temu is able to offer such cheap prices by shipping the goods directly from factories in China. By cutting out unnecessary middlemen, they can undercut established retailers like Amazon and Walmart. With that being said, Temu is still losing huge amounts of money because they subsidize free shipping. By some estimates, they lose as much as $30 per order after accounting for their frequent sales promotions. According to analysis from China Merchants Bank, Temu is estimated to be losing $600 to $900 million per year. If you watched our previous video, we said that Temu's aggressive marketing and pricing strategies were ultimately unsustainable and they would eventually have to either raise prices or start charging for delivery. 2024 is Temu's third year of operation and they're showing no signs of slowing down. In fact, they just spent $7 million on another Super Bowl ad and still offer extreme bargains with subsidized free shipping. Today we'll look at all the developments that have transpired since our previous video and try to answer the question, how much longer can Temu survive? While I was writing this video, I used a super cool new app called Type AI to help edit the script. Powered by the ChatGPT API, it has an iOS keyboard extension that works seamlessly on any platform or app on your phone. It has a super cool feature called Tone Changer. You highlight a piece of text and the AI will rewrite it to match whatever tone you're going for. It can make your text more professional, academic, or even witty sounding. It's super useful when my writing sounds too dry and I want to change things up. Type AI is also useful for replying to emails. For example, let's say you receive an angry email from your boss about a delayed project. Just copy the text and click the email writer feature on the toolbar. We want to make a reply to this email, so we copy the text and give a few words about how we want to respond. And just like that, we have a professional sounding reply written for us. In both your professional and personal life, it's important to be able to write without grammatical errors and with the appropriate tone for the situation. So make sure to click the link in the description below for a free trial of Type AI's premium version. And now back to the video. Temu is owned by Pinduoduo or PDD, which is the third largest e-commerce company in China. Despite the fact that Temu is likely their fastest growing segment, the company has provided very little disclosures about its revenue or profitability. They have two revenue segments, transaction services and online marketing services. Transaction services are fees paid by merchants on the PDD platform. These fees are extremely low, just 0.6% of gross merchandise value. This only covers the payment processing fees, so PDD makes no profit on this. The vast majority of their revenue comes from the online marketing services. Sellers can pay to promote their listings within the PDD platform to increase sales. PDD runs an asset-light business model and does not subsidize shipping in China. The consumer either pays shipping, or if free shipping is included, this is paid for by the merchant. Because they're not subsidizing delivery, PDD's core business in China is very profitable. In the most recent quarter, they made over $2 billion of operating profit. They use the profits from their core business to subsidize Temu. If we look at their revenue by segment, we can see some interesting developments. Temu was launched in the third quarter of 2022. Prior to this, transaction services only made up less than 20% of revenue, with the vast majority being marketing services. After Temu's launch, transaction services revenue exploded, and today it represents over 40% of the total. This is because Temu uses a different business model than PDD. In China, PDD operates a model similar to eBay. When a third-party merchant sells a product on PDD, they handle all the shipping and handling themselves. Because both the merchant and the consumer are located within China, shipping is relatively cheap and simple. International shipping is far more expensive and complicated because you need to do a lot of customs paperwork, etc. It is possible for Chinese merchants to sell directly to the US on platforms like Amazon, but this is challenging because the product descriptions have to be written in English. Furthermore, many Chinese merchants don't know how to advertise effectively in the US market. So a lot of times they end up selling in bulk to US-based middlemen who sell the products to end customers on Amazon. This is an inefficient process, and the factory in China only gets a small fraction of the final sale price charged to the end consumers. To solve this problem, Temu operates a so-called fully hosted model, which is very different from the asset-light model that they use for their domestic platform. Temu operates their own warehouses near major ports in China. The Chinese factories just have to ship their products to the Temu warehouse, and Temu handles the rest. The process is very simple for merchants. They just have to provide pictures and some basic product descriptions on the Temu dashboard. All of this is done in Chinese, with Temu's own staff writing the English listing. On the demand side, Temu's value proposition is to offer extreme bargains at rock-bottom prices. Temu runs auctions where factories submit bids for a given product category. Factories that submit the lowest bids are given the top listing spots. If a product sales underperform expectations, the prices are automatically reduced. Everything is set up to provide the lowest possible price to consumers. This is very different from PDD's business model in China. For PDD, the main revenue source is advertising from the merchants. Merchants who pay for the advertising get their listing boosted to the top. Therefore, the top listings on PDD are not necessarily the ones with the cheapest price. Because Temu operates an auction model that only focuses on minimizing price, they don't offer paid advertising services to merchants. Instead, they charge a commission of between 2 and 5% of the item's sale price. This likely explains why we see such a massive increase in transaction services revenue following the launch of Temu. Substantially all of Temu's revenue is transaction services, while most of PDD's Chinese revenue is marketing services. The rapid growth of Temu has allowed PDD's consolidated revenue to surge to a record $9.4 billion in the third quarter of 2023. It will likely be even higher in the fourth quarter due to the holiday season. Of course, it also costs a lot of money to run Temu. The gross profit margins of PDD's main Chinese platform are extremely high because they incur zero shipping expense. This is not the case with Temu, as they now have to incur the substantial cost of shipping products overseas. This has caused their cost of revenue to surge from about $1 billion in the third quarter of 2022 to $3.7 billion as of the third quarter of 2023. As a percentage of revenue, cost of revenue has increased from 21% to 39%. And finally, we also have to consider the massive marketing campaigns Temu has used to gain mindshare over the past 2 years. These include multi-million-dollar Super Bowl ads, as well as the hundreds of millions of dollars per quarter that they spend on digital advertising and generous affiliate marketing programs. In the quarter before they launched Temu, PDD spent about $1.6 billion on sales and marketing. By the third quarter of 2023, this is almost doubled to $3 billion. While we don't know exactly how much money Temu is losing, it's likely hundreds of millions of dollars per quarter. By far, the main reason they lose money is their subsidized free shipping. Up until recently, Temu used air freight, which allowed products to be shipped from China to the US in 1 to 2 weeks. It is estimated that this air freight costs at least $10 per order. With the average order value believed to be around $30, the shipping cost is massive. In November of 2023, they switched to using sea freight, which costs about half the price. This adds about 10 days to the journey, so now Temu packages take 2 to 3 weeks to arrive instead of 1 to 2. Additionally, they recently started charging merchants for half the shipping cost. Given that Temu merchants already have razor-thin margins, this will eventually be passed on to the consumer in the form of higher prices. The second reason they're losing so much money is their generous new user promotions. When you first sign up for Temu, they'll offer to sell you a product for far less than its cost. These promotions are funded by Temu itself, not the merchants. It stands to reason that once they establish a large enough user base, they can cut back on these types of promotions. There's every reason to believe that Temu could become a sustainable business. For example, AliExpress has been operating for many years and offers products at similar prices as Temu. From the beginning, they used inexpensive sea freight, which caused long delivery times. They never invested in a multi-billion-dollar advertising campaign like Temu did. So despite offering objectively good value for money, most consumers in the West don't even know about them. Temu is likely using a bait-and-switch strategy. They initially subsidized free air freight and absurdly generous promotions. This allowed them to build a ubiquitous brand and far surpass AliExpress in terms of market share. Over time, they'll transition to a more sustainable business model similar to AliExpress. Whether they can maintain their massive customer base after this transition is an open question. Another thing to consider with Temu is its effect on the competitive landscape. By the end of 2023, Temu accounted for 17% of US market share within the discount category. This has come at the expense of brick-and-mortar retailers like Five Below, Dollar General, Dollar Tree, and Big Lots. Temu has the advantage of shorter lead times and smaller batches from its factory suppliers. This makes them much less likely to have a buildup of unpopular inventory that eventually has to be marked down, a common occurrence at traditional retailers. For example, Dollar General has seen both its profits and share price almost cut in half over the past year. Consumers are buying less high-margin discretionary goods, and instead buying more lower-margin consumable goods like food. This could be a result of consumers shifting their discretionary spending to Temu. Even Amazon is not immune from the competitive threat. This past December, Amazon decreased its commission fees to 5% for clothing priced below $15 and 10% for clothing priced between $15 and $20. This is much lower than the 15% standard fee that they used to charge. For now, the profits from PDD's Chinese operations are enough to cover Temu's losses, so they can keep up its current growth strategy for the next few years at least. This is something that consumers and competing retailers will have to learn to live with. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video. What do you think about Temu? Let us know in the comments section below. As always, thank you so much for watching and we'll see you in the next one. Wall Street Millennial, signing out.